Off the rails. Man, that is a little idea. None of this is perfect by any means ever, but I wanted to tell you that's a little song that Tim Marks wrote that plays in our trio, and man, I love playing that song. I played it way too fast. Must have had too much coffee today, but it's a groovy tune, and Tim wrote a good one. It's a cool little thing called The Border of Somewhere, and we're actually going to we're actually going to be releasing a couple songs. We're going to release 2 trio songs that we did featuring Jimmy Wallace, and then I guess I would make it a quartet, but it's going to be the GT trio with Jimmy Wallace on a couple tunes. We did kind of a New Orleans vibe song called Uptown, and then we did another little instrumental there called The Border of Somewhere, and then me and Sam Grissman, David Grissman's son. David Grissman just turned 80 years old, and I sent him a little mandolin, happy birthday to Sam that took him out there took the video out there to him when they played their show out in Seattle for his 80th birthday. I've been a big David Grissman fan my whole life, man. The creator of dog music. Tony Rice played his ass off on those records, man. That first record is killer. Maybe I'll put the album cover to that on the end of this video, as well as a little walk I take all the time here in my neighborhood. My little spot, man. We finally got some sunshine out here, which is amazing. But me and Sam Grissman went in and recorded just an upright bass and acoustic guitar song. We did a one-take blues, and there's a couple little spots on there that I wanted to fix, and we were just like, nope, we're not fixing it. We're putting it out just like it is. And man, you can't beat the one take. Once you do one take, there's no going back and fixing it. I would rather leave mistakes on the first take and get the energy that it captures. As soon as you start going back and trying to fix stuff, for the most part, you can't get the energy back. And so it's like, man, don't lose the magic of that one take when you're recording. Which leads me to another point I wanted to share with you. Of course, thanks so much for all the kind words on the Silver Play Creators Award button thing that they do. That's nice. That's a nice thing that they did, and so I'm proud of that. But moving right along, the iPhone was one of the things that really actually kind of helped me. And bear with me here. It really kind of helped me because when I'd get home from these gigs with the trio and I've been playing all this stuff, I'd get the stories, and people would be sending me some videos and stuff, and I'd see Instagram and they'd post some stories and stuff, and I can remember certain parts of certain songs that didn't feel right under my fingers. I was like, man, that really is not what I intended to do there. You know, and it got a little sideways maybe for me, you know, feeling a little bit sideways under my fingers. But by the time it comes through your perception of it and your interpretation of it, out of your mind, into your hands, onto the strings, through the pickups, through the cable, into the amp, out of the speakers, and to the audience, they don't know what you're intending to do. Unless it's just an obvious mistake or something. But if you're really improvising under the heat of battle, under the gun, nobody really knows what you're intending to do. And so that's that old joke, like if you hit a wrong note, hit it again. Well, not necessarily. I you know, even I joke around and do that sometimes, but it really helped me gain some perspective when I'd come home and be hours and hours and hours after the gig, and what I thought was a horrifying mistake, I'd listen back to it from the perception of the crowd, and not only wouldn't it be a mistake, it would be something that I thought was cool, and I'd do it again. Because what's intended is like, okay, well, I'm intending to play something over a certain chord or under a certain chord, and then I would do something else, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. But then when I heard it back, I was like, well, that was cool, man. That was like some outside and kind of like, you know, it ended up being something cool by accident. And I love when that happens. And that to me is the spirit of making music. It's the true spirit of making music. And so, man, let's get back to that. I posted something on Instagram earlier, and you guys, you know, if you're not following me on there, that's good for a daily update and some lifestyle stuff. But man, I just posted, I said, look, we all are freaked out by all these massive talents on planet Earth, and everybody's so successful and everybody's doing so much. And if you look at those social media things like that and you start comparing yourself to other people, you can feel the overwhelming feeling of defeat and discouragement and frustration come over you, and it can immobilize you, it can paralyze you. And I'll sit here and go, you know, if I gotta get on something like YouTube or Instagram too early in the morning, I can feel it take over, where I just sink into the couch and I'm like, God, I'm so defeated. I was like, man, you know, these guys have these amazing careers and they're doing so much better. They're so much more motivated, or this guy's so much better than me, or whatever. And I go, man, no, I'm not doing that, because that's bullshit. And that's that feeling taking over and winning. And I'm not going to let that happen. When I feel that way, I shut it off immediately. I double down. I go take a walk. I come up here. I do a video. I play some guitar. I do whatever I need to do to get that out of my head and get away from that feeling, because that is the feeling that keeps people down. And that's the feeling that keeps people from being successful and achieving their dreams and their goals. We got to fight that feeling with everything we have, because it's powerful. And I know it because I feel it every day. I fight this every day. You imagine living in Nashville with these cats that I have to hang with, and like, it's like, dude, you better, you know, there's no getting lazy around here. So I'm just messing around, friends. I'm having some fun and just talking to you guys about some of this stuff, but it's a big deal because it's something that's really happening. And so, you know, you got to fight it. As soon as those feelings, you know, come in, you gotta start moving, and you gotta kick it in the ass, and you gotta fight back. So that's what we do. And I wanted to share with you guys a couple things. Like if I'm gonna practice, quote unquote practicing, man, I'm just gonna get in this room and I'm gonna play. I'm gonna put my amp, which, by the way, I wanted to tell you guys, the guitar's playing really good. I wanted to tell you that the Princeton Reverb that I got back here is an original one with the original speaker, but I took it to Todd Sharp at Nashville Amplifier Service over in Berry Hill, where I have my little property and stuff over there. I have a studio and an office space over there that I rent out. And so we've all got this cool little neighborhood. XTS, Exact Tone Solutions, the pedal board guys, the amp guy, and me, we're all over there with some other cartage companies and all kinds of stuff over there. But it's just south of downtown, called Berry Hill in Nashville. But I took this amp over to Todd Sharp, and he did his little Princeton uptick to it. It's not a heavy mod or anything, but it just allows you to get a little bit cleaner headroom with the amp still sounding really good. And man, this Princeton Reverb, man, the notes are popping out of this amp. I love this thing. And so you can probably hear that even through the iPhone, which you know, I use the iPhone 14 Pro Max to do these videos, and so that's all I've ever used is my iPhone. It seems to sound pretty good. But anyway, guys, if I'm going to practice, I want you to practice with some intent. And so I don't like to call it practicing. I like to call it playing. When you pick up the guitar, you should just be playing. Make the music you know how to make. You know, make the music, but make music. So look, if I'm in the key of G, if I just do this. At least that's music, right? Nothing earth-shattering, but I'm staying in the key. I want to play. I want to have a tonal center. I want to have some intent when I'm playing. So it doesn't have to be some blazing stuff all the time. Hopefully not much longer. But I want to be able to just play some nice sounding, you know, lines or melodic stuff. And so I might start just like by playing the key of G, you know, and do a few little, you know. Oh, sorry, don't do that. For me, I'm trying to map out these, you know, the arpeggios, and then do those with two notes. I'm not saying you got to do that, but I might warm up with something like that just to try to get my hands in gear. But just playing something musical. I mean, so practicing is playing, right? If I'm playing, you know, I'm not playing anything crazy, you know. But I'm thinking of a chord change. So when I'm playing it, here's how this works in my mind. I've never done this before, but this is like what I think some people are kind of asking. Is like I'm improvising in the key of G major. Now, I'm thinking in my head, I'm going to go to C there. Right back to G. Because the 5 might go to E minor. Back to C. Back to G, up to D. Back to G. I've been digging that little line lately. Very Allman Brothers, right? That's your sus. So putting the C note before the third and then back to the root. So when I'm practicing, I'm thinking like, okay, let's go to E minor for a minute. Let's go to A. Back to E minor. Let's go to C. D. E minor. Let's go to F. C, right? was, so I'm thinking about these chords while I'm playing, trying to move and have some intent. Now, I'm not asking you to play all this nonsense note for note by any means, but that's the idea, to have some intention. Hear a chord changing. If you don't have a progression, you're free to play over any chords you want. Sometimes I'll just go random just to keep my hand warmed up. I want to do something that sounds good, but if I'm in E minor, maybe I go to C, maybe I go to G, maybe I go to F, maybe I go to B flat. Who knows? Just to change it up a little bit. And then here's another thing I wanted to show you on this little mini lesson here, just for fun. If you're in like, you know, say you're in the key of C, this is how these chords connect, right? First of all, the pentatonics are going to connect in each 5 of the chord shapes. You know, they're going to go vertically, but they're also going to connect horizontally, and a lot of that is through the visualizing the major scale, the pentatonic, the arpeggio, and the chord. And that's why that sequence is so crucial. The chord, the arpeggio, the pentatonic, and the scale. I'm telling you, if you learn that like you're walking, you're going to get better at this thing, and it's going to click. But my point here is this is how these can connect. So if I'm playing C down here, those 2 notes are the major scale. Go to these 2, root and third here. When I do this, that's all connecting to the A shape. When I do this, it's right there, right? Now the next 2. When I do that, up the scale with those 2 notes, that's into the G shape. With these, that's a 5th, so you don't have a nice pattern there. But when I go to the A shape, watch this. You don't want to hit that. Sorry. These 2 notes. If I play the triad, the C triad on the 5th fret with my ring finger, it's the A shape. If I play that same triad with my 1st finger, it puts my hand in the G shape. Crucial stuff. Okay, if I'm here, 1st finger, 5th fret, the G shape, I've got this connector. That one's coming from the A shape. That turns into like a flat 7 one. Because I'd have to make it major. It's kind of weird, but that's a good one. That's your C7. So this, back to this one, A shape, there's your G shape, here's this line. Right up the major scale. Then that one, your only other proper triad is right there. So that goes into your E shape, dominant 7. Now on this one, so stealing from the G shape, these last 2, that goes up the scale. So, but this right here, what I was going to show you, as soon as you do that, you're in the E shape. Now that I'm in the E shape, those 2 notes, same as this. Sorry. They're everywhere. So right here, then that one again. That becomes a C7. So that's G shape up to the E shape. And that's the D shape. Then this one, root and third on the D and G string, up the scale, right into the C shape. Watch. major scale stuff to these chords like that going up. Now, I know I just threw a lot of shit at you real fast, but you gotta, if you put the work in and you figure some of this stuff out, slow it down, it's gonna work. All this information is correct. I'm not making anything up new here. This is the way the guitar neck's laid out. This is the path. And so please, please check that out, because that's the way these... I'm going through all the shapes by just playing the major scale. Right, that's the C shape. When I walk down, that's the D shape. That's the E shape. A shape, right? That's not a perfect example, but you get the idea. Right, starting on the 5, C shape. As soon as I do that, I'm in the D shape. E shape. G shape. A shape. Open, right? I know there's much more to expand on that, but that's how I want you to start looking at this, man. You just have to dive in and really break the chords down and learn those fundamentals, man. The chord, the arpeggio, the pentatonic, and the major scale. You got to learn it this way and then this way. And that's where the magic is. If there was a shortcut, that's it. It's not learn how to solo in 15 minutes. That's for damn sure. But I'm happy to shed some light on some of these things. Thanks a bunch, guys. It's a beautiful evening here. I might go out a little bit and try to hear some music or something with a buddy of mine. But other than that, everything's good. And let me know what you want to see more of on here. I got some stories that I'm going to tell, some life stuff I've written down, and we'll see what happens with that. But guys, thanks a million. Thanks for the kind words and all the great comments. And we'll see you in a day or so. All right, guys, I'm fired up. Thanks. Hey, guys, I'm sharing with you this little space that I walk at. This little area out here, it's right down by the Cumberland River, part of Shelby Park. They call it the Greenway. But this is an old abandoned airstrip called Amelia Air Park. Amelia Fort Air Park, something like that. And everybody comes out here and rides their bikes and walks. It's a big loop on the old runway, which I think is pretty badass, man. Great place to come out here and walk. I love this section right here, though, man, of these old trees. I think it's a cow pasture back there, but man, I needed to get off the gadgets for a while, even though I'm on my fucking iPhone right now filming this. But I always think about you guys while I'm doing this stuff. Of course, these guys come blazing past so fast. But man, I'm about to have to take a little vacation or something, man. I've been on the gadgets a little bit too much lately, doing all this stuff with the phone and all the tech stuff. So man, we got to remember it's springtime. Let's get out and get a little bit of nature, man. Let's do some fishing. Let's do some hiking. All right, guys. Cheers.